gamut.
And keeping track of things in a comprehensive way. I just mentioned to you Bucky Fuller has an exhibit here at the Whitney, and it says, begin with universe.
Yes.
And you have a consciousness that embraces universe, including science, and also you have some very interesting ideas about nighttime and daytime consciousness, and a very interesting take, and are trying to bring the two together and is part of your mission, it seems to me.
Absolutely. Connie and I, we believe that evolution, understood in a sacred, meaningful way, which is not the way most people have been exposed to evolution.
Right.
But evolution understood in a sacred way, in a God-glorifying way, touches, moves, and inspires people to be of greater service to the world, to be a blessing to the world. So evolution, that is the science of evolution, what 97 or 98% of the scientists of the world agree with, can enrich and strengthen and deepen people's faith. And what I would say even stronger than that is that there are, in fact I talked about this in Sunday when I preached this past Sunday, there are 7 reasons why I think nothing matters more than what we think about evolution today.
Really? Okay,
yeah,
that's
at this day and age, I've identified 7 distinct reasons why nothing matters more. It's the most important thing on the planet, is what I'm arguing.
Talk to some of those 7 issues, what they are?
Be happy to.
Right on. Right now.
Okay. Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, the first is that it gives us a common creation story for the first time in human history.
Okay.
Every culture has had a story or set of stories that explain where did we come from, why are we here, where are we going, and why we're special as a people. How do we live? The big important questions in life.
Are those questions unique to, let's say, we're part of a larger evolutionary pattern and so forth. It's unique in a certain way, interesting to the evolutionary process itself. The creatures do not contemplate these matters or have the ability to contemplate these matters in the unique way that we as a species do.
Exactly.
Okay.
That is our great gift and our great burden.
Okay.
Is that humans are destined to contemplate the big questions in life.
Yeah.
Who are we? Where did we come from?
Why
are we here?
And
where are we going?
Yeah.
You know, how are we to live? These questions are the big questions in life, and there's literally thousands of different cultures that have answered those questions.
Yeah.
But we finally, for the first time, we now have a story, a way of thinking about these questions that is sacred, that's inspiring, that's meaningful, and that's factually based.
Now, what
about evidentially based?
And that the science, if you think about it, I don't know where it goes back, but it goes back. It's got a sort of limited, but in terms of, we've been here apparently from the mitochondrial a couple 100,000 years. The species we evolved out of Africa, and we were living for a long time. And the science is something relatively new. And you had a thing. If we could, we've got that first point, we'll get back to the second. You had a thing in there talking about time, the difference between a billion and a million and a billion.
Exactly.
And that kind of thing. And to get a time frame. Evolution gives us a time frame. We tend to look at the news and think by Tuesday everything's going to be, completely different. Yeah. But it's been a long, long haul up the evolutionary pattern right from Big Bang to now, isn't it?
Exactly. And
it's good to keep that in mind.
Exactly. And for me, I understand that in terms of billions of years of grace. Of grace and creativity, that God's been active and creating for billions of years. And we no longer believe that. We know that. We can measure how God's been creating. So that's the exciting thing. That's why I say it's the marriage of science and religion for personal and planetary well-being. In fact, even the subtitle of my book is How the Marriage of Science and Religion Will Transform Your Life and Our World.
Is there a difference between the science and religion and science and the sacred traditions? No,
those would be different ways of saying the same thing.
Oh, the same thing, right. Religion, the etymology,
well, what I mean is
a hold.
To be linked back, right? To reconnect us to our source, to the sacred.
And you were interested as a young man. You're from Poughkeepsie, and as you know, Teilhard de Chardin is buried there.
Yes, exactly.
A great man who wrote Phenomenon of Man and so forth. And you've taken inspiration from his writing. You also said Thomas Merton.
And Thomas Berry, and Brian Swim, and Julian Huxley, the great evolutionary humanist.
Yeah, that family was something else, wasn't it? Huxley,
completely. And those who have basically taken the science-based story of the universe.
The science-based.
But told it in religiously inspiring ways.
Now, how long have we been able to say we've got the tradition of science as a way of doing it? We've had this self-reflective consciousness, asking these big questions in Cro-Magnon caves, probably, and that kind of thing. We're coming up with legends or ideas of the narrative of how things began. But the scientific underpinnings to our understanding, when do we date that from? I mean, in terms of or maybe that's beyond the point.
Let me actually finish these 7 points first.
Okay,
because
let's do that.
that'll encompass a lot of what you're asking now.
Okay, good. Okay.
So the first reason I think it's that nothing matters more than what we think about evolution is that for the first time we have a fact-based, evidence-based way of answering the big questions.
Okay.
You know, that also is religiously inspiring.
Okay.
And so whether someone is a Jew or a Muslim or a Buddhist or a Christian or a Hindu or whatever their religious tradition, or Taoist, exactly, they can be inspired by the same science. The science can enrich and strengthen and deepen each person's faith, whatever that faith happens to be.
And bring unity.
Exactly. And so this is the first time that that's been possible. So a common creation story, or a common, you could say a common creation myth, if what you remember is that myth doesn't mean an untrue story. It means a narrative, like Joseph Campbell used the term, a narrative that puts one in accord with the nature of reality, connects one to the whole, to God.
The nighttime consciousness.
Okay, so that's the first.
Go ahead, three. Yeah.
No. Number two.
Number
so
two.
the second one is that it validates both religious and scientific ways of speaking. The two are not the same. That's what you were referring to before. Day language, which is scientific language. Night language, which is the language of meaning, of purpose, of morality,
and
of
of
ethics.
dreams.
And of dreams, exactly. Because we all
comes from a different part of the brain.
Exactly, and we have a different we have a different experience at night than we do during the day.
Absolutely.
We fly at night.
Yes.
We turn into other creatures. We walk through walls. We do all kinds of things at night in our dreams that if we could do those same things during the day, we would be having supernatural or miraculous experiences every night. But we don't call them supernatural and we don't call them miraculous, but we do sometimes call them bizarre. But they're only bizarre if we judge them by day standards. In other words, if you in the daytime are reflecting back on your dream from the night before, you may call it bizarre, but that's only because you're using day standards to judge it.